voice can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silenced, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence the small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all.
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Maverick News. And I forgot to change the background, but we'll take care of that. It was a great Maverick Midnight Matinee last night. His Girl Friday, a movie that I've always been aware of, but I've never actually watched the entire thing until last night with you guys, at least those of you who showed up. And you should join us next Friday for the next Maverick Midnight Matinee. Yeah, great film with Cary Grant. Anyway, that was a fast-paced, fast dialogue movie. And we have lots to talk about tonight, too. Election being called tomorrow in Canada, and info lies. Oh, yeah. Canada as the 51st state, and then everywhere I go online right now, it's one lie, falsehood, misdirection after another about Canada. It is unbelievable. But I think that's part of the goal, is to make things unbelievable so that you don't believe in your country, Canadians, and so that Americans don't believe in your country either. And maybe other people around the world. It's all about undermining belief, faith, trust. Yeah. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit tonight. We're also going to go to the phones so that you guys can weigh in on the conversation. I'll get those phone lines open early tonight so that you guys can call in. And I'm looking forward to a robust conversation tonight as we dig into the top news stories of the day, the whole issue of Canada possibly, maybe becoming the 51st state, either through choice or annexation / some sort of coercive force. And of course, it's a night to reflect and look ahead as we preview tomorrow's Canadian election call. Stay with me. We'll dig into it on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, here I am. Hang on just a second. One more little promo as I kind of clean things up here and get ready to kickstart this program. Hang on here a second. Just a little bit of a technical glitch that I have to address. Here we go.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
All right, so I am back. And so are you. Yeah. Where shall we begin tonight? Election call tomorrow. What else can I say about it? Mark Carney, Canada's new Prime Minister, sworn in after becoming the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada, and now seeking his first election win. He's expected to make the big announcement tomorrow, so that's something that we can certainly talk about tonight. And all the talk surrounding him, like all the negative, the hit pieces and everything that are coming out, it's I don't know if it's working because right now on the Canadian political landscape, everything is focused on him. And so there's an old saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Mark Carney is just getting all the ink in the papers and all the space on social media, and poilievre has kind of faded from the public spotlight quite a bit. Still getting some attention, but not nearly as much as he was. I think that will probably shift and start to come back once the election gets underway. You'll get a little more balance in terms of the amount of coverage each leader is getting overall. But right now, it's like there's this anti-carney fever that has taken over online, and it's just everybody is scrambling to just hammer the guy. So it's all that I'm seeing online now. Maybe it's just because I'm being bombarded with content that is directed at me. Maybe my perception of that is a little bit skewed because of the way the algorithms are feeding information to me. Maybe you want to comment on that tonight as we go to the phones here in a few moments. What else is happening tonight? Trump has rescinded security clearances for Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. That's the way it rolls these days. Yeah, he issued a memo last night, revoking their security clearances, which means that they're losing their access to classified information. That, along with about a dozen additional former Biden officials, have all been targeted in that way by Donald Trump, and others on the list, as you probably may be aware by now, others on the list include Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Lisa Monaco, Liz Cheney, and Adam Kinzinger. So they're not going to have access anymore to classified briefings or secure U.S. government facilities without some sort of an escort. It is. Tell me it's not a war. Of course it is. And you're seeing this real rub start to wear thin between the Trump administration and the judiciary. Trump really trying to, well, he isn't just trying, he is basically using the power of the presidency to ignore basically court orders. This is turning into a bit of a showdown, and it could blow up into something much more serious over time, resulting, I think, in constitutional challenges, deep legal divides, and ultimately possibly new precedents being set to determine how much power the president really has versus the judiciary. Who gets final say? And where are the checks and balances? These are complex questions addressed largely in the U.S. Constitution on the U.S. side, but always open to interpretation. And Trump is pushing it to the edge, that is for sure. What else? Oh, yeah, big protest. This is actually Bernie Sanders posting this. He says 34,000 people out in Denver. Largest political rally there since 2008, he says. The message is clear, according to his post. He says, no authoritarianism, no to oligarchy, no to Trumpism. We are ready to fight back. And he says, now it's on to Tucson. So he's on tour, that guy. I ran a big portion of his speech there the other night. And he's getting crowds. There is a groundswell of support on the Bernie Sanders side. And I think you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of him in the months ahead. And he's obviously, it looks to me like he's getting ready for a run at the White House in the next election. If he's still in good health. I mean, he's no spring chicken either. He's getting up there in years. Let's take a look at this video of the protest in Denver, Colorado. Some drone footage there. Yeah, big crowd. Look at that. That's nothing to sneeze. Look at all those people in the foreground, too. Well, it seems to me that Trump's support is not as strong as some people may think. Like any politician, you have the diehards, and then you have people in on the opposite side who will never agree with you. Then you have, different levels of support, some soft, some hard, some mediocre. Some people can be swayed one way or the other. I think right now he's in control. He's asserting control. Trump is really in the process with Elon Musk purging political opposition from the administrative side of government. It isn't about efficiency necessarily. A lot of it is get rid of anybody that disagrees with the president's agenda and what he's doing. And that in itself is, I'd say, a challenge to democracy because of that kind of approach. We've seen that in history before. Okay, so there's your drone footage, Denver, Colorado. Enough of that. And it's interesting too, especially during the first Trump administration, and then, even leading into his re-election, just all the way along, really. If you look at the way, this is what I mean about the soft support for Trump. A lot of people think that Trump is like conservative. And it's interesting because I don't think Trump is a conservative. I think he's a populist. And Bernie Sanders is, I think, a populist as well. But he's more on the sort of the left side of the political spectrum in terms of the populism. And so you've seen all the way along, a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters have an affinity for Trump and vice versa. And so when you're seeing this groundswell of support for Bernie Sanders, I would say take note, because I'm pretty sure that a substantial portion of the people in that crowd are people who either still do or maybe are beginning to still do support Trump, or maybe are shifting away from Trump and going to the Sanders rallies because he's sort of on that opposite side of the populist spectrum. So you're going to see, especially I think as Trump, and this is me editorializing, but as Trump enacts these tariffs, which will begin April 2nd and on a large scale, this is going to really do damage to the American economy and to other economies. And then in turn, because the other economies are going to be damaged, it's going to hurt America even more. It's going to shrink the world economy. The people who are saying that Trump is wrong about the tariffs, though, because tariffs are a tax on American taxpayers, on the American public, they're right, but they're wrong. They're right because tariffs are a tax on Americans. Because it's ultimately the American consumer that pays the tariff, because when the goods are imported into the country, the companies purchasing those goods at the wholesale level pay the tariff and then pass the cost on to consumers. But that isn't where the story ends. The people who also are saying that Canada should do nothing because it's a tax on American consumers, they're also missing the next point. They're correct, but they're not looking to the step beyond that, which is what Trump is really focused on, which is to provide a penalty, therefore an incentive for companies to relocate manufacturing to the United States in order to get around the tariffs so they can have access to the U.S. market. And if you do nothing over time, because of the size of the U.S. market, what Trump is really banking on is not collecting revenue from the tariffs. He's looking at the end result, which is to try to force plants, manufacturing facilities, factories to relocate back to the United States or to just move there to begin with. Because he keeps saying that Canada has stolen the auto industry from the United States, and that is not really accurate because we've built it together. We've always had auto manufacturing in Canada from the beginning of the auto industry. Nevertheless, he wants all those factories on the U.S. side. So if you do nothing, all that manufacturing is going to go to the United States. But Trump is doing this across the board on everything going into the United States from Canada and Mexico. That's why ultimately it's still going to be a recipe for disaster for the U.S. economy and ultimately even for Canada and Mexico and the world, because the U.S. is such a large economy and it's integrated into everything. In fact, I'm driving down the street today, just another observation, which is just obvious. I'm driving down the road and I'm seeing like gas stations, proudly Canadian owned, because they're hoping that people will patronize these businesses because they are Canadian based. Well, yeah, they are Canadian. You know, it's a Mobil gas station though, and Mobil is a U.S. based corporation. Was it U.S. based? No, it's really multinational. It's global in scope. But the franchise, probably, it must be some sort of a large, it's probably a chain of gas stations owned by there's a company, I have to look them up, but on the sign it said Global Fuels, I believe. There were two different companies listed on the sign. So Canadian-based companies, obviously with some sort of a franchise agreement to run those mobile gas bars in shopping plazas. This one out by the Superstore, which is owned by Loblaw. And then I'm driving down the street and then I see the Wendy's restaurant, which is, it says, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Well, okay, yeah, these are franchises. And the way, as I recall, because I worked at Wendy's when I was a kid, that company is set up there. I think control of Wendy's has changed hands over time. So I'm not sure exactly who owns it. I think it's actually the same, forgive me if I'm wrong, it may have changed since I last checked, but I think they're tied in with the same company, parent company that owns even Tim Hortons now, because they're on the U.S. side. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. That's just off the top of my head. But the point is, these companies are not really Canadian. The franchise owner is Canadian, but the company itself is based in the U.S. And then it's a company that trades on the stock exchange. So you could have investors from all over the world. So the economy really has become global. And it's become more globalized over time, especially since the late 70s and then the 1980s. I've mentioned this before. Ford, for instance, in the mid to late 80s, when the Ford Escort automobile came out, Ford called that a world car because the auto industry was becoming more globalized at the time, and they designed that car. It's a hatchback, right? So it's sort of a universal design, very much looking like a Volkswagen Golf today. That's sort of style, but designed to sell around the world, not just locally, and parts and to be created through the global supply chain to build the Ford Escort hatchback, which wasn't a bad little car at the time. I remember those. They were pretty tight. But it's just the economy isn't just American anymore. You look at an American car company like Donald Trump views General Motors, Ford, Chrysler as the big three. Well, those companies are not really American companies anymore. It's really not proper to look at them in that manner because they are global. General Motors has been investing, which manufacturers like Chevys, right? GMC. They Oldsmobile, gone. They had a lot of other brands over time, but General Motors has been investing a lot in China because that has been the growth market. And sort of go there, they've had to manufacture. They have to manufacture there because they have tariffs and non-tariff barriers in place to get companies to set up manufacturing facilities there. You want access to the Chinese market, you got to build in China. That's kind of what Trump is saying as well, but that's also what Canada has been saying, right? And that's why you have these international trade agreements. We used to have the Auto Pact, then it was the North American Free Trade Agreement, negotiated between like Reagan and Mulroney, and that included Mexico, and then over time, Donald Trump comes along, they renegotiate that, it becomes the United States Mexico trade agreement with the USMCA, right? Canada, Mexico, USA. CUSMA or USMCA, whatever you want to call it. And Trump negotiates that, says it's the best deal ever, and now turns around and tears it up and doesn't even honor it now that he's back in office, citing national security concerns basically to justify everything that he is doing. Now it's the worst deal ever. You negotiated it, man. And then gives the big car companies a reprieve, a pause, says, oh, well, the tariffs, I'll give you an extra month to prepare for the big tariffs, big car companies, big three. Well, they're not just the big three. Stellantis owns Chrysler now. Stellantis is European based. They own all these different brands from Alfa Romeo to Jeep to Chrysler, Ram trucks. That's the old Chrysler. And they have a whole bunch of Fiat. They own Fiat. They have, here, let me just show you what Stellantis. I'll get you a list of all the different brands that, it's extensive. Just to give you an idea. Too many for me to even remember. Yeah, they have Abarth, which is an Italian performance racing brand, Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Citroen, Dodge, DS automobiles, Fiat, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Opel, European German brand. They've been around for a long time, kind of some very interesting cars there. Peugeot, French, now under Stellantis, Ram, and Vauxhall, a British brand. Those are all the different 14 different brands of automobiles, all owned by Stellantis. They've let Chrysler really fade. They've been looking at even selling that portion of the company off because they haven't been developing it. They don't have many vehicles being manufactured by Stellantis under the Chrysler brand anymore. Through Stellantis. So you've got the Windsor automobile. We keep freezing up here on the internet. I'm very sorry about that, but just ongoing problems with this Bell internet, which it's atrocious. It's fast when it works, and then sometimes it just stops working. So I do apologize. Blame Bell. Bell Media. Terrible, terrible, terrible service. Terrible. So I'm just appalled at the crappy internet that they provide. Just blows my mind how crappy it is. So anyway, we're making changes here to get around that, but that's all coming in time. But I digress. All kinds of stuff going on. 51st state talk. Let me dig into this, okay? So every time I turn around right now, there's all this crazy. There it goes again, freezing again. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. You know what? Let me take a little break. Let me see if I can fix this. No, I can't do this when they're in the middle of the show. It'll probably cut everything off. I'll do my best to muddle through this with you tonight, folks. Let me know if we're getting cut off too much. I'll try to keep it going here. My apologies. It's pretty darn bad, is what it comes down to here, in terms of the information war that is accompanying this push from the White House to annex Canada and make it the 51st state. And make no mistake, Trump is serious about it. He really does want this country in one way or another, or at least a portion of it. And you're seeing all of that ramped up in Alberta with all of these separatists out there. They've been working on this for a long time. This isn't something that happened overnight. It's been a plan for a long time. And a lot of what you've been seeing going on that you couldn't make sense of, it's all tied into this. They're down into the this isn't the end game yet, but we're getting close. At least this portion of the new world order plan that they have. And you don't have to look any. You want to know, it's in the White House. That's where it is, and you can see the players on the Canadian side too, who are sucking up to Trump. And you start to connect dots, and you really start to dig into it, and you can begin to see exactly what's going on. Okay. So, speaking of, this is what I'm talking about. One of those players is Alex Jones. So every once in a while I dip into his website, and he's on the Trump train. He's on Team Trump, and that means anti-Canada, which means take over Canada, which means, spread the distrust, the disinformation, the lies, the outright lies. Let me just show you. Alex Jones tonight getting everything. It looks like maybe he's getting it wrong, but no, he's intentionally, I think, spreading information that is just false. First going after Joy Reid, who got fired, I guess, from her gig, right, over on MSNBC. And she's on a show with Don Lemon. So, left-wing kind of a show, fair enough, whatever. And then she gets a bunch of stuff wrong on that side of the spectrum. Then Alex Jones comes along and gets stuff wrong on his side of the spectrum. So I thought I'd run some of this tonight to just show you how stupid everything is becoming out there. People are like, oh, that's the truth. No, that's the truth. Truth, this is all just stupid. Here it is.
Grampy Trump, let's talk. First of all, you can't make Canada the 51st state without going to war with them. And let me explain how that happened, how that worked out the last time we tried to go to war with Canada. They burned the White House to the ground in 1814 and won the war. Canada beat us in the War of 1812.
That's sort of true. We didn't burn it to the ground. The White House is still there. But we did set it on fire. That's true. So there's truth there. There's truth. This is Alex Jones now teeing all this up for his program.
They probably like their chances against us. We're not going to beat them in a war because we have never been able to do that. You'd have to occupy a country that is equivalent of the size of the United States, in which the top 2/3 of it is uninhabited, frozen forest land.
You don't need to occupy that, dumbass.
The Arctic.
You don't need to occupy that, you dumbass. what does that tell you? He's on the one hand, he's going to tell you that there's no plan to take us by force, but at the same time, he's got the plan. They're not planning on occupying the sparsely populated Arctic areas of Kazakhstan. You don't need. They've already thought it through. We don't have to invade up there, just down in the south.
You know how that worked out when the Nazis tried that with Russia, which is the equivalent of Canada on that part of the world? We gonna lose. We don't have enough troops to occupy. They are a country of 39 million people who have about as many guns per capita as we do.
Okay, that is absolutely not true. Everybody in Canada knows that's not true. Not even close. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I can tell you with the gun control up here, we do not have as nearly as many guns per capita as they do in the US of A. So sorry, no, Joy, that's not true.
Nobody's talking about militarily invading Canada, dumbass.
That's not true, Alex Jones.
Nobody's talking about militarily invading Canada, dumbass.
I don't know about that.
One of the greatest unintentional comics ever, other than Don Lemon. And of course, she only had 60,000 viewers on her show, but on our show, she had millions of viewers, and on many other shows, she had millions of viewers because we play the clips here. It's like I told Brian Stelter on the phone once. I was with Tucker Carlson. He called him. He'd been texting him. He said, let's just call Brian. And I said, you know, Brian, you never had any ratings except on my show when I would play clips of you. You were a big star on my show. And just a horrible person trying to get me taken off the air, harassing our sponsors till they left us, bragging about it. Now he runs around, you know, saying Trump censoring people. I guess he's back on CNN now, but nobody knows because nobody watches. But Joy Reid, in just this short little clip, you could describe the leftist disease brain with another washed up loser, a has-been that never was, Don Lemon, on his show, Washed Up. I'm sorry, the name of the show is Total Loser. And so he's got Joy Reid minus the blonde wig, though she does culturally appropriate now, and though the hair she has on her head, she does bleach blonde, which is fine with me. She's welcome to do that. It's just, white people are bad if we braid our hair. That's not cultural oppression, by the way, or oppression.
What the hell?
Cultural appropriation. But I'm just being sarcastic here. But she's like, you know, Canada beat us in the War of 1812. You mean the war with England, and they didn't beat us? It happened, and then it stopped, and then Andrew Jackson went down and beat them in New Orleans. I mean, you really saying that we had to bail England out in World War II?
No, dude. Like you failed to. We're here. Okay, so it's just demonstrably true. You did not beat us in the War of 1812. Nice try.
And then Canada, we had the French and Indian War with Canada before our Revolutionary War. I want to be friends with Canadians. They're great people. They're under globalist control. They're being ripped off. And I keep saying $100 billion a year. The new numbers are out. $197 billion trade deficit we have each year with Canada.
Lie. Absolute freaking lie. He's just repeating a Donald Trump lie. That is not true. It's 100,000 million% not true. It's not even close to that. How many freaking times do I have to show you? I've shown you the economic reports from various banks and international banks, credible sources, showing the actual trade numbers, and the actual deficit every year is between like 40 and 40, like 45, sometimes closer to 50 billion a year. And the bulk of that is because we're exporting energy. It is a lie. He's repeating the lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. He's a liar. He's lying.
They sell 92% of their goods they sell, period, in the world is sold to us.
That's a lie. It's a lie. That's another lie. It's a straight up lie. It is true that we sell the bulk of our goods to the United States, but it's about 70 to 75%, not 92. And that is well documented You can look it up. You can look it up. Go ahead and look it up. If you can show me a credible source to back that up, 92%? No, sorry, dude, that's just a straight up lie. You're so full of it.
They buy 4% U.S. goods. They won't let a U.S. company come in. This is international.
That's also not true. Okay, so what does he mean by 4%? What does he mean? Like he doesn't even really quantify. I kind of know where he's going with it, but just we buy 4% of what? Like I'll let him keep talking, and then he's going to spew more lies here. More lies.
They won't let U.S. banks come in. They won't let our dairy.
Not true. We have U.S. banks here. We have how many? I showed you banks the other day. Let me show you. Here we go. Look, I'll prove them wrong right now. It's so easy for the brain dead people out there who follow this moron and believe that it's true. Like, come on, dude, come on my show. I'll go on your show. I'll debate you. This isn't it. You're just lying. There's Citibank, U.S. Bank, corporate office in Toronto, 123 Front Street, West Toronto, Ontario. U.S. Bank. Citibank. There are a bunch of them. I think there's like a dozen different U.S. banks operating in Canada, somewhere in that range. I'd have to look up the list again, but I've looked at it. It's just obvious that it's not true. I'll get you more addresses for more branches. How many you want? Lie. Trump has said that, and it's not true.
Come in. They won't let our eggs come in. They won't let our timber come in.
Okay, that's also not true. We don't have tariffs on lumber. We don't really have any trade barriers against U.S. lumber coming in. We just don't buy it because we have so many trees up here that we don't need any trees. We have too many trees. We cut trees down because they're growing like weeds. That's why we have a huge lumber industry up here. And our lumber grows in a colder climate. It's more dense, especially the further north you go. So you get better hardwoods. It's better for building. That's why the U.S. imports so much of it. But we don't have like trade barriers against lumber. We just don't. Dairy, yeah, we don't allow dairy to come in here because we do have big trade barriers, like 270% tariff against dairy milk. But on the other side of that, we don't dump our milk into your market. You're only telling part of the story. It sounds terrible, 270% tariff on American dairy products into Canada. That's right, because we've kind of carved out that little portion of our agricultural base to ensure that we have food security up here, so that we always will have farmers in our own country in case we're, I don't know, like say someday some big country with nuclear bombs comes along and says that we might take over your country. No, we're going to cut off all of your incoming food supply. No, we've got farmers here so we can continue to eat so we don't starve to death. There are other reasons why we have supply management in places, but this is just half-truths, misdirection, and outright lies. It would be a different story if we had 270% tariffs in place and then we were dumping massive amounts of milk into the U.S. market, but we don't do that. We don't dump our milk into the U.S. market.
They won't let anything come in. I mean, you got to work hard when you live right next to the United States.
We won't let anything come in? It is not true. About, what's the total amount that we import? We are actually the biggest, I think we're like the largest consumer of American products. We consume, I think it's somewhere around actually 17% of all U.S. exports. We are one of their largest, if not their largest trading partner back and forth. And he's saying we don't allow anything into our country. That is a lie. It is dangerous. It's a misdirection. It's misinformation. He knows it's not true. He knows that's not true because he's not a stupid man. So why is he doing this? Why is he outright lying? That's one lie after another lie after another lie after another lie. What's the motivation? It can't be good.
States of America to buy 4% of your imports from us. And so it's all one-sided, and without our $200 billion roughly, they're done. And Trump doesn't want to crush him. He wants a trading partner. He says, hey, get rid of the tariffs. It'll make business better on both sides. They're like, you are attacking us. We're going to retaliate with more tariffs.
We already addressed all this. We have over time, for a long time, through these trade agreements. NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, then the USMCA, which Trump himself negotiated. All of this stuff was on the table in both instances, under both agreements. That's how we addressed all of these things. He signed off on it, and now we're getting this. It's all one-sided. It's all lopsided. We don't get $200 billion in subsidies from the United States. We get zero. You don't subsidize us in any way. And then this claim that, well, we protect Canada. Trump's claim that, the defense spending alone is like a subsidy to Canada. Well, the United States needs access to our sovereign territory in the Arctic for early warning systems against possible incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia. And we provide that access gladly as an ally and partner with the United States to provide that access for the early warning systems, NORAD. Because we've always cooperated, because we have been the best of friends, because we are neighbors, because we are an ally. But this is not friendly talk. Oh, I want to be friends with the Canadians. No, this is an absolute assault. And even Warren Buffett has said this trade war is an act of war. It absolutely is. And so you can sit there, Mr. Jones, and say that you don't want to use military force, but there isn't a hell of a lot of difference, really. At the end of the day, there is, I guess, kinetically, and in terms of maybe lives lost initially, but to use economic force in order to annex a country, or force it to capitulate to whatever demands it is that you have. He's treating Canada, you're treating Canada, the U.S. government right now is treating Canada in the way that Trump treats adversaries, enemies of America. And we're not an enemy of America. We've been the best of friends. So what the hell is this? Warren Buffett says it's an act of war. Others also say it's an act of war.
That's not retaliation. We are retaliating. You started it. But every time you...
Oh, you see, this is the upside down world that they always try to create using this kind of information warfare. They always flip it right upside down. You're retaliating against the trade deal that Trump negotiated? I know that it's upside down because he's lying about all the numbers. You're a liar. Alex Jones, let me just state this very clearly, just in case you're missing my point. Alex Jones is a liar. I don't use that term lightly, and I don't direct it at people lightly. I'm going to say it again. Alex Jones is lying. He is a liar. He's not making a mistake. He's not in error. He is intentionally lying to you, to the world, to everybody, because he's up to no good. I'll say it one more time, just in case I haven't been clear. And it's really, I'm getting more and more upset the more I listen to people like him. And he's, he's like the Pied Piper of lies because Alex Jones is a liar. And he seeks to do harm to my country. And he knows it. He's doing it intentionally. He's lying. Lying. He's a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Bad man.
You see the headlines, China retaliating, EU retaliating, Mexico retaliating. With all these countries, it's completely out of whack.
Because the United States has allowed their big corporations to become global in scope. They've become multinational corporations, as I just explained, like General Motors. They are not America-centric anymore. They're not American companies. They are global companies. The United States has been the world reserve currency. The United States is the global dominant economy. And what he's not telling you is that the United States economy is not based on gold. It isn't even really, the economy isn't really even based on oil. Although the dollar is sort of pegged to the value of oil. It has been since the 70s. The truth is the United States economy is propped up by the military-industrial complex. It's all the manufacture of arms. And this is also where Donald Trump, I don't know if he's getting it wrong, but by making America first, pulling in, contracting, and trying to repatriate or just patriate, not even repatriate, but patriate manufacturing to America in order to reduce the trade deficit, he's going to tank the economy because what it is that props up America is building high-tech weapons and selling them around the world to NATO partners, NATO countries. Products like the F-47, super stealth fighter, 6th generation, announced just, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. The F-47 fighter jet. I think it was yesterday or the day before. We had it on the program. What are those things going to sell for? And as the United States has grown and has become, supposed to be the protector of the world as the leader of NATO and manufacturing the bulk of the weapons systems to provide that military security umbrella for the Western world, and the United States taking on that leadership role, it's the sale of those arms that has propped up the U.S. economy. And it's the stability that comes from that because you're the military leader. Nobody's going to challenge you. Nobody can take you out. That keeps the dollar high and makes everybody want the U.S. greenback. It's not just the oil. It's the military spending. I think there's some 40 states that in the United States that have ties to arms manufacturing. And with that economic activity, they've allowed manufacturing of cell phones, audio, like little cameras, right? Cameras, they don't make this stuff in America. There's a GoPro camera. They don't make that. They don't make cheap plastic stuff. It's all made in China and other countries. You don't make t-shirts in America. You make them in Haiti and you pay people $1 a day. That's where they come from, is countries like that. And you've allowed your big corporations to outsource all the production and then import the stuff and mark it up high. And then everybody buys the stocks, and that's capitalism because you're making money with money, not making money by working labor. You're using your money to invest, which has value, but by investing in the stock market and then having other countries produce it where you have lower labor, lower wages, those companies make more money. Costs less to produce. You just import it into the U.S. where the overall value of things is higher. It started with manufacturing, and then, now we've gone to sort of service-based economy, a capitalist-based economy, and a military-industrial-based economy. So it's the manufacture of very, very high-end, high-tech weapons systems and sale of those around the world worth billions of dollars. How many millions of dollars? Like $20 million for a F-35? And what's Canada doing right now, along with other countries? The F-35 is like halfway through its probably its useful life cycle, and Canada's just finally coming on board to purchase its jets, paid for already the first 16 of a new crop of F-35 jets. And the reality is they're already obsolete. They were probably obsolete a month after they started manufacturing them, because they've been working on this F-47 stealth super fighter jet that the F-35 goes, I think, 1.6, Mach 1.6. Then this new F-47 goes faster than Mach 2. And it uses artificial intelligence. And it comes with all these drones that fly around it or something. We don't even know all the things that it's capable of, but I can pretty much guarantee that this new F-47, once it comes out of the gate, if they don't use the kill switch to shut down the F-35 because they don't like what Canada's doing, and they let the things fly, if they were to go, say, head-to-head, the F-47 against the F-35, you could probably take out all the F-35s that Canada is about to buy and send up one of those F-47s. My guess is it would probably wipe out the entire squadron of Canadian F-35s like that. And Canada probably wouldn't be allowed to buy those F-47s initially, because America wants to maintain its technological edge. Or maybe they would be allowed to buy them, but then if they thought that Canada was any kind of a threat, they'd hit the kill switch. Why do you think we don't have nukes up here pointed at the United States? Because we're an ally. And secondly, they don't want us to have nukes. Because if we did, someday, maybe if some guy in the White House says that he wants to annex our country, we might point him at you. Or that would be the threat. We would never do that. But I'm just saying that Canada isn't allowed to have that kind of stuff. So then he turns around and says, Canada doesn't spend enough on defense. Well, that's because you don't want us to spend too much, because you don't want a threat on your border. You got to be number one. And that's the other thing, this America First thing, and I'm really going off tonight. America First. America First? No, it should be America Leads. That's the key to strength, because this America First stuff, what you've done is you've isolated the United States. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now. And he's making the country much, much weaker. And aligning with Russia? I know some people think, well, all we have to do to avoid nuclear war in the future is to align with Russia. If we're just friends with Russia, the other super nuclear power, then the threat of nuclear war is gone. No more threat of nuclear war because we'll be friends with Russia. Hello? No, it's not that simple. Because what Trump has done is he's alienated his allies, who also have nukes. UK has nukes. France has nukes. Yeah, but Rick, they don't have enough nukes we have thousands and thousands of nukes over in Russia. And how many does France have? 300. About 300 nukes. See, France wouldn't stand a chance. Yeah, they would. It's an independent weapons system, not dependent on the United States. They have enough nukes to completely wipe out Russia. You only need 300. Even 300 is probably too many. After that, it's just overkill. It doesn't even matter. How many times can you blow up the world? How many times? So it doesn't matter. 300 is enough to destroy everything. You got a nuclear sub parked in Halifax Harbor. You think all this activity is getting us closer to peace? No, it's not. It's getting us closer to a nuclear war because it's creating a power vacuum, power instability. It's realigning things. So maybe Russia and the United States won't nuke each other, but now Europe is threatened by Russia, so they're arming up. Pretty soon, I bet you have 50 countries that all possess nuclear weapons, Iran being one of those countries, I expect. How do you tell Iran that they can't have nukes when all these other countries are getting nukes? And the United States is saying, we're going to go to war with Iran to prevent them from getting nuclear weapons, which I don't think they should be allowed to have. I don't want any more countries to have nuclear weapons. I want it all to stop. We need to start pulling it down, disarming. But I'm not like a lot of these peace snicks, peace activists. You know, they go out and they protest in the streets in Canada and especially in the U.S. Say no to NATO. Say no to nuclear weapons. Say no to NATO. Oh, okay, but what about Russia? What about China? What about North Korea? You notice they don't call for disarmament from those countries? It's only the United States they call for disarmament because the United States is evil. Well, you can't have a stable world in a today unless everybody participates in disarmament. It has to come from both sides. But I hardly ever hear the people out marching in the streets calling for disarmament, calling for the other side to disarm. It's always the United States. It's always the West. It has to be both sides. If you don't do it that way, you just get imbalance. And it gets you closer to an actual war, conflict, because it creates a power vacuum or a power imbalance. What if you think that if one country has nukes and the other side does. That's why, after World War II, some people took steps, I think, to give that technology and even steal the technology to get Russia this technology as well so that they could create this balance of power so that one country couldn't, as Godzilla, go around stomping on everybody. And that became, it was, dangerous. Mutually assured destruction. Very complicated and yet very simple. It was complicated enough when we had 2 nuclear powers in the world. And then, it spread out a little bit more. Now you've got some in Europe and so on. You have China now. Now it's getting really complicated. Now the geopolitical realities are terrifying. What's it going to be like when you've got 50 countries with nukes? Well, Donald Trump is ushering that in with his foreign policies. That's where this is really going. You might have 2 dominant military powers, but over time. And once other countries get nukes, see, this is also what makes it very destabilizing. How is any country supposed to catch up now to, like the United States or these other countries that have F-47 fighter jets that use artificial intelligence to fight? When other countries, including European NATO countries, what they're manufacturing in terms of fighter jets, that's all 5th generation warfare stuff, fighter jets, but 5th generation fighters. But how do you get them to that next level? You need access to that technology. That's why you have this big AI race on right now. It isn't just so you can make cool media. It's about military applications. In fact, right now, tonight, I'm seeing... Yeah, right here. Let me show you this. It's every day you're seeing this stuff. China is in the race, right? And that's why I think we're seeing everybody in such a rush to do things these days. And I think that's also why you're seeing conflict and actual war. Here's this post. China prepares a blitz to crush U.S. tech. Open source models hardware dominance in sight. China is gearing up, it says here, to flood the market with open source AI models, targeting everything from computer vision to robotics and image generation. The goal? Gut U.S. tech profits, dominate AI-enabled hardware, and repeat their playbook, copy, optimize, scale, and bankrupt competitors. With DeepSeek already rattling U.S. markets, China's betting big, offering free AI software while making billions on cheap smart homes, drones, and robots. It's the same strategy that crushed Western manufacturing. This time, it's aimed at Silicon Valley. Yeah, article. Reposted by Mario Knopfel. It's That's true. That's true. It's everything is changing and rapidly, and it's changing at an exponential rate, and because of AI and all kinds of new technologies. And it isn't just the fighter jets, it's drones, it's robots, it's changing society, it's changing warfare. That F-47, it's like nothing that we've ever seen before. A totally new approach to aviation, military aviation. Not even showing you the whole thing. And then the photo yesterday as they announced Boeing getting that contract. And isn't it interesting? I thought that's an interesting choice to award the contract worth over $20 billion right out of the gate. It'll be a lot more than that. Trust me. Boeing got it? Boeing? Boeing's been under fire from the Trump administration for its DEI policies. Boeing's been under criticism and fire because of its planes not meeting, falling apart, basically. And then DEI being blamed for that. And then the Boeing space capsule going up, another public relations disaster. And then what company gets the contract to build the F-47? Boeing. I just can't make this stuff up. Maybe they've changed their ways. There's just so much that seems to defy logic. Stay with me. We'll come back on the other side.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, it's been a strange day today, actually, all the way around over here, and the news has been a little lighter, which is a little unusual these days. But we do have this election coming up, and I'm sure that you guys probably have things you'd like to talk about here tonight. So I wasn't even planning on talking about having any of this stuff really to this length. And there's some other things that we might touch on tonight, but it's already getting late. So let's go to the phones and you guys can weigh in on the conversation tonight. I'll get everything set up. Here's the number to call. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. And if I haven't triggered you too much tonight, you can donate to support the show, the channel, what we're doing here. at freedomreporters.com. People don't want truth today. They just want confirmation of their bias. Tell the truth, you pay the price. freedomreporters.com if you want to support the program. You can e-transfer to rw581 at aol.com. If you do donate by e-transfer, and some people prefer to do that for privacy reasons, whatever, we need you to complete the security question when prompted during the process, because it goes into a bank account where we don't have auto deposit. So you have to do the security question, and if you could apply the note or answer to whatever question you assign, as long as the answer is Maverick, Maverick, then I will know what the answer is when the email comes in, and when the e-transfer comes in, and then we can complete the deposit. But if without that, it doesn't work. So got to have that. Otherwise, doesn't work. So freedomreporters.com to support the program. And looks like we've got a caller coming in. Hang on just one moment. And I think we have, a few callers actually already lined up. Here we go. Let me pull this down. We got 1, 2, 3 callers on all at once. I may have triggered some people. Let me put the number up on the screen here too. You can join the program at 1-647-734-4220, and then punch in that PIN number 860075764 to join the conversation here tonight. And who do we have on the line? I'm not sure who to start with. Don't everybody all talk at once, but somebody say something so we know who we have on the program tonight.
You got a dragon here.
Dragon! And I know John's there from Alberta.
Hello, this is Sean Connery.
Well, hello,
is this
Sean.
Rick?
Yes,
is this Rick Walker?
It is. Who's this?
This is Leo, man.
Leo, how are you tonight?
So all the shit's starting to happen over here with the layoffs, eh? And we're not even at the April yet, right?
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
just
it's coming.
Let everybody know, right? It's coming. Every industry is going to get hit. Okay, there's no escaping it.
Maybe not. I don't know, man.
I got 3 in my shop and 6 in the other shop, 11 in the other shop, right? So they're cutting back, that's for sure.
Well, people are bracing for it. I see that, but it is what it is. I'm not in the camp of do nothing at all.
Well, no, me either, right? Yeah, 100%. What I find very funny about the election that's coming, right? In the polls that they're saying in the mainstream media, I don't know. Everything that I see that Carney puts out, all the comments, okay, and it's the Liberal Party that's putting it out. The comments that are in there are just wild, just like Justin Trudeau. A little worse.
What do you mean? Like what comments specifically? Like what I'm seeing is he's stealing or trying to steal, the campaign points from Poilievre. Like
everything Poilievre said, everything that Poilievre said, okay, and he's been saying this. This is where people say, "Oh, Poilievre's a Trump." This and that. Listen, Poilievre's been saying it for 36 months. Okay, no carbon tax, build more pipes, cut the crime. Fight the housing crisis, everything, right? This is before Trump was even president. Okay, and I didn't think Trump was even going to be president, and a lot of people just like me thought that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so people that say, "Oh, he's a Trump," no, he was saying it before Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, and now looks like Mark Carney there's trying to steal the thunder. Okay, he became a conservative overnight. He was even wearing the blue color in the Edmonton Oilers jersey, right? He's trying to steal it all, right? And it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. And what I found out, I dug on this one too. There was an article that came out on CBC, CTV, and Global, and it was pretty funny because it was all the same, where they're having problems. The Liberals are having problems finding candidates in ridings. Okay, now this year is the first year that the 338 ridings go to 400 or 343. So they're adding on to it, right?
Wasn't it 344? But anyway, it doesn't matter. 340 might be 343. Yeah.
343, right? And they're shy right now 160 candidates in riding. So when they do the polls, okay, they say, well, the Liberals are leading now. How can they be leading when they don't even have 160 candidates in the ridings?
Well, I think that's just based on who you would vote for, right?
In the
But,
city center.
you know, whatever. I don't think means that. I know that they've got trouble getting some candidates, so it may not translate
Right.
into that if they don't have candidates to run. You're quite right about that.
Right, and you got guys that are dropping out by the day now. Yesterday, Randy Boissonneau, the 3 Randys or 8 Randys, whatever they are, right? He's not even going to be in the runnings. He's retiring due to, you know what, family issues, which they all say, right? It's
Yeah,
always about
I'm just
the family.
looking at the 338 poll, and according to the poll, Liberals at 178 seats if there was an election today, and now the Conservatives behind at 131.
Huh.
I mean, that what
How can
a
that-
change in direction.
Yeah, but how
is.
can that be? If you look at the article from CBC, look at Liberal candidates. It was out yesterday, I think it was. Okay, and it's online. I tried sharing it, but you're not allowed to share any news shit, right? So I took a screenshot of it, right? And there was only 143 ridings with Liberals in them. 143. So if they're leading by 170 or 100, or they're at 170 in the polls, how's that possible when there's only 143 in the ridings?
Well, that's just
Who's
based
making up the
on
numbers?
how people would vote, I think. It depends on how they frame the question. But yeah, in the end, if they don't have a candidate to run in a riding, then you're not going to elect a Liberal there. So that
Right.
may
I'm
be a
not.
problem.
I'm not advocating for PP at all. I think he's, and I've been saying it for years. Okay, but you know, I don't like the guy. Period. I think he's a weasel. Okay, I do like Max Bernier, but it ain't his time, right? You know, out of all the pieces of poop that we have in Parliament, it looks like I'm going with PP, right? He smells better. Okay, out of the rest, right? And he's been saying it's his election to lose, that's for sure.
Oh,
something
yeah.
happens-
Well, it was. The Conservatives are good at losing that way. They seem to self-destruct sometimes as they go into these elections. They're partway through, you know, when it seems like they've got it in the bag, and then, you know, victory is snatched from the jaws of defeat. I'm just looking
One
here.
more thing before I go, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned something about the deficit or the budget, the budget, right? Well, I was digging a little deeper into the national deficits. Okay, we know America's 37 trillion with a population of 350 million. China's only 13 trillion with a population of 1.2 billion. Russia, this is the kicker here. Russia's only 260 billion with a population of 150 million. Canada is just shy of 3 trillion with a population of 40 million. Okay, so it's lockstep with the U.S. almost buck for buck, our deficit. Okay, because we're 10 times smaller than America. Okay, just under or over, under. Okay, so it's almost lockstep, buck for buck. It's like it was designed this way, some ways.
Well, actually, if you really do the analysis, we're actually financially in better shape than the United States is, and it is a manageable debt, depending on how. As long as you have a fiscally responsible government come into play. The problem is that it's not that the system can't work; it's that you get politicians in there, especially liberals, who come in and buy votes. And
Well, get
you know?
into the ring of fire. I really like what they're saying, and they're finally. I think it was it Bob Ray who opened that up years ago when he was premier about the ring of fire and talking about the ring of fire, or was it somebody else that discovered it or whatever? But he talked a lot about it, right? And it's been going on for over 20 years.
Longer than that.
Get into get into the ring of fire, get the minerals out of the ground, pay off the deficit. I don't want to see something happen like Petro Canada, which was Crown Corporation, by the way, once upon a time. It's not anymore. Okay, that was owned by the people. I don't want to see this ring of fire be developed by countries like China, the United States, Russia, anybody else but Canadians. Instead of putting your money, our money, into the EV in billions. Well, we know how much. What is it? $20 billion almost.
Well,
just an EV
probably
project.
even more. It's unprecedented. It's crazy.
Get that money into the ring of fire. Start getting the gold, the platinum, the lithium, everything that everybody wants, the silver, the diamonds, everything's up that way, okay? Get it out of the ground. Start paying off the shit and make Canada better. That's how we're going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. We need to make better use of our resources, and if we can invest in that, then that's a good investment for the future. That is our legacy to be.
Yeah, don't sell it off to companies, though, is what I'm saying. Okay, like right now in Alberta, there's multiple oil industries that are developed and bought out by the Chinese. Okay, now how do you get these Chinese out of the businesses? You can't. They own them. Okay.
Well,
Don't do
I
that
don't
with-
mind international investment to a degree, but yeah, we need to make sure that the benefits come back to our country so that we prosper as a nation, and that translates into national security, both economically and in terms of, foreign affairs too. So, yeah.
Right, 3 trillion's nothing when you're sitting on 35 trillion in minerals just in that area.
So,
Right, so it's not the end of Canada, and in this 51st state shit, that joke's run along. It's been running too long for me, anyways. I don't like it at all.
me either.
Really, I don't.
Who else is on the
You
line?
know,
Somebody else joined us here. Who else is there?
Isabel?
Isabel.
Hi, Izzy.
Hi, how are you?
Did you like my Sean Connery? My Sean Connery.
Pretty good, actually, Leo. I liked it.
Not bad, eh?
Very
Well,
convincing. But
Yeah.
Dragons, Donald,
Except Sean Connery's been dead for 10 years.
but Dragons, French Donald Trump still is still the best.
Say it, Dragon. Come on, say something.
Well, I'm still waiting for that pint of beer that you owe me, man.
Hey, Dragon, if Johnny's on, he's not. You don't have the cards, and Johnny's going to say, "I'm not playing cards." You're not even playing with a half a deck.
Well,
But I got to go, guys. I'm working 7 days a week, by the way, 12-hour shifts, and it's funny because, like I just said, they laid a bunch of people off yesterday, but for some reason, that's not in the design for me. I think I'm going to be one of the last guys if they do close down. I'll be the guy ripping the machines out, sending them to the U.S. Right?
like Windsor, Leo is it's always been a city that booms at times and suffers immensely during down cycles. A lot of people there must be very worried, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, you remember, Rick, okay, because you're a couple years older than me, okay. And I remember just like yesterday, 1979, 1980. Okay, when gas went through the roof, man, interest rates went through the roof. Chrysler's looked like it was going to close down.
Yeah.
Okay, and it almost did. Now, the reason why, and people say, well, we're going to bring jobs back to America. Okay, all the Americans out there listening, you know who you are. Okay, we're slaves. It's plain and simple. We're cheap labor. Okay, we're educated people. We know the jobs. Okay, we put out a good product. And that's the only reason why. Or these jobs would have been in the States a long time ago, right? And the way that the U.S. dollar is, what is it, 60 cents Canadian?
70.
The U.S. dollar right now?
I think
Is it
it's-
70?
Yeah, but 70.
I haven't looked. But so you say 30% there, right? And it's cheaper labor here than it is in the States.
Six-
And it
69
always
cents.
has been.
It's 69 cents today.
Right. If it was cheaper labor in the States to get the work that we do, these jobs have been gone a long time ago. Right. Why would you do business if you could get it cheaper in the U.S.
But
and
the
you're already in
reality
the U.S.
is,
right?
like but with the auto industry, see, with the USMCA, this is what Trump is lying to you about too. Part of the USMCA agreement was all about equalizing wages so that countries like Mexico and Canada wouldn't have much of a wage advantage.
Right. I
in
remember
order-
him saying that too.
Yeah, and
That
so
he wanted to
and
he
that's
wanted
what
to
happened.
boost our economy.
Right. So what happened in Mexico, in order to get the agreement, they had to agree that they would increase wages for Mexican auto workers, and they did.
Right. And it wasn't just about wages. It was about workers' rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the way that people were being treated in Mexico and in Canada, right? And now look at right now it's like going to be anti-union here in a hurry, right? But it's gonna play a pivotal, a huge, biggest. This is going to be the biggest election in Canadian history. Okay, this plays a big part on which way we go here, guys. Right, and like I said, I like Max Bernier. I like what he stands for. He's He's all about protecting us Canadians, but it's not his time. And I'm not going to split the vote this time. I did vote for him last time, right? But I'm going to go with PP, give him a try, and hopefully he does what he says. And that's the whole problem with politics. These guys will say anything to get in, right? And then they're in, and guess what? We're going to be tough on crime. Crime goes up. We're going to create jobs.
I absolutely, agree with your analysis, if you will, of what Carney is doing, though. I've noticed it too. It's like he's like, first thing I do is axe the carbon tax. Oh well, there goes. We just neutered the conservative whole conservative campaign, right? Axe the tax.
Rick,
we already did.
Rick, I took a picture last Sunday because my day of freedom Sunday tomorrow. I get 4 hours a week or whatever, right? For necessities of life. So I go grab fuel and diesel. And I took a picture at the pump. It was $1.51. Okay, and I'm scratching my head saying, okay, the carbon tax is supposed to be done. The consumer carbon tax. Why is it $1.51? Well, today it's $1.61. A week later. So if the consumer carbon tax is gone and it's at zero, why am I paying 10 cents more than I was last week, right? Carney's in trouble.
On the conservative side, though, I mean, they've been playing games with the numbers when it comes to the carbon tax. Kind of, it's trying to scare people a bit because they'll say it's like I don't remember what the numbers were, but they'll say it's going to be a 300% increase or a 30% increase, and it amounts to pennies at the pump, right? But over time, it amounts to quite a bit. But do you understand what I'm saying? It's like a percentage can sound like a lot when it actually amounts to like 2 cents a liter at this point, right. And then 2 cents a year from now, and it keeps ratcheting up. But it's not like $1 more. It's
right now they're saying that the reason that the fuel's not going down, they're switching over to summer fuels. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
I never believed that.
I run diesel. My diesel's the same as it is in the winter as it is in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, it's diesel's diesel, right? So it should be. Hey, things are going to change, guys, and I'm just happy that we're finally getting to that point now, where there's a possible election. I'm still hanging on to the because I'm like you, Rick. I don't believe fucking nothing I'm hearing. I'm hearing like you said, Alex Jones. I'm hearing all kinds of crazy shit, right? I don't even watch that guy, anyways.
Yeah,
I don't think I've watched one.
I used to watch him a lot, and then sometimes I'd leave him playing, and I'd fall asleep at night, and he would give me nightmares because he's talking. I still
haven't watched
stuff.
One full episode of him or that Jordan Peterson. I have not watched one full episode. That's not a lie. Okay, I watch a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of shit, crazy shit, and good shit. I still haven't watched one, right? Even Rogan, I've watched a couple of full episodes of Rogan. I'm not big on it, but I like the way that he thinks, right? But
all
Jordan Peterson, Alex Jones, all these guys, I have not watched a full episode. I can't stomach it.
They've been losing me. They lost me, a lot. Most of these guys because they just it's like I showed you today. Like I don't if somebody starts lying to me. And it's like it becomes blatantly obvious they're just lying, then I have no time for it. There's no value in it for me. I need factual information. Real stuff. I can't allow myself to get pulled into into what they're really doing is they're creating a false reality for people and then trying to will that into existence.
Right. Right. You know what? It's a lot easier to tell the truth.
Yes.
Hey, Dragon, it's a lot easier to tell the truth. Okay, I can't believe how many people are watching my damn shit. Okay, and I'm just speaking the truth. I'm not, and I'm getting the facts. Okay, and I'm back checking my own shit. I'm just speaking the truth. Okay, of what's going on with Mark Carney and all of it, right? And the writing's on the wall. I'm not a fan of PP. Don't get me wrong. Right, I'm not a fan of any of them, but. The views that I'm getting, I'm getting paid from Google, right? YouTube and all that crap, Facebook. It's from the views, right? So, which is good. But speaking the truth goes a long way. And digging into it and doing your fact checking. You can't say, that guy's lying. Dragon, you're lying. Okay, you're just without fact checking it. Fact check it. And if you know he's lying, then bring him up on it and call him up on it, right?
Well, so well, let's move over here. Who wants to go next? Dragon, you want to talk? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was looking into the chat and actually what you were saying, and at the same time, what I'm looking at, it's basically what we have is people are being manipulated by the media, and I mean influencers, YouTube content creator, and so on. And basically, they're being framed, there's a framing of a false reality here, and people are just gobbling everything so easily nowadays. I don't want to say the word, but it's disgusting.
It is. Agreed.
And John, out in Alberta, what's on your mind tonight, sir?
Randy, John, I'll just keep you guys real quick. I just want to send a lot of love and prayers out to our dear friend Brian Howell. Had a rough end of the week, and Brian, lots of love from Morrisburg, Ontario, from our Lutheran church friends and family. So I'll leave it at that, Rick. You know what it's about. So
yeah. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit tomorrow night, but that's okay. Yeah.
Although I have to say, I do agree with most of what Leo said. I mean, things are not looking good. Let's put it this way.
No, it's going to get. Listen, have faith, and not blind faith, not a blind trust. Okay, just have faith, basic faith. Things are going to go south before they go north. Okay, but they're going to go north.
We'll get through this. We absolutely will. I think that overall, like, we have all the leaders from the country, from all the different political parties that are in power, the premiers, the feds, they're all working together, except for, one or two exceptions. But other than that, Canada's coming together on this. And I think that we've kind of been through it before. We're going to get through this as well in time. It's just going to be a bit of a challenge.
Imagine 1979, okay, 1980, okay, just before Lee Iacocca took over Chrysler's. My dad, okay, there's 11 of us in the family. I'm the youngest boy. I was 9 years old. I remember it like yesterday. Okay, I lived on a farm. We had 250 chickens, 25 pigs, 3 cows, okay, and a riding horse. And everything started depleting on the farm. The chickens are gone. Okay, the cows are gone. We're eating them. And then all of a sudden, the horse is gone. I don't know if I ever told you this story before, Rick. You want to hear it? So anyways.
We don't want to hear it, Leo.
No, listen, my dad, you know how farmers are. Hey, they're always giving shit away to each other, right?
We don't want to hear it.
Well, this is what happened. Okay, it was October, and my dad was on the phone, and he says, "Hey, Bob," and Bob owned the farm 2 doors down. He said, "How old's that horse going to be that you gave me?"
We don't want to hear it.
He said he'll be 8 before Christmas. This was in October. The horse was 8 before Christmas. We ate our goddamn horse.
Let's see,
and that's positive. Tough. And that's tough, okay? That's tough. Like, we're talking about tough times. You ain't going to get any tougher than 1979, 1980. I don't care what happens here. But one thing I did learn as a little kid, don't be dependent on your government. They're not going to be there to help you out. Get your gardens in the ground. Get your fishing rods in the water. Get out there hunting if you have to hunt. Okay, provide for yourself, because if you can't provide for yourself, you're screwed already. So anybody that's dependent on the government, you lost.
Okay, well, we better move over here. And welcome, Sandy. But Isabel, you've been waiting patiently.
That's okay. I have patience. You know that. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Dragon.
Good night, guys.
Hi, Leo.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
See you, Leo. Take care.
Bye, Leo.
I was just wondering if you saw the protest that went on between Windsor and Michigan.
No, I did not.
It was awesome. Both sides of the river against Trump.
Oh, when was that?
I believe that was today.
Oh, I'll look that up.
And it came on my feed, and I'm like, oh, hey. We're more together than Trump thinks we are.
Yes, we have a lot of support over on the U.S. side.
Yes.
I love America.
I see it more and more every day. I really do.
Yep.
From what comes in from other people that are following this, and they send it to me, and I'm like, see, we're not alone.
Yep.
Where, and we've got that squeeze. We've got the states right in the middle between Canada and Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And this, what really irritates me the most is everything was going fine till that jerk got in the White House.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, everything. Again, think about it. The first time he came along, the world just got thrown into, complete chaos. Where did we end up with him the last time? Locked down, mandates and everything. And everybody's thinking that he's, the protector, but he wasn't. And now here he is. He's back in office. And we're not even, 2 months in? And the whole world has been turned upside down. NATO flying apart, bomb in Somalia, bomb in Yemen, Middle East. He's getting ready to move all the Palestinians out, turn it into a resort, gone to economic war with Mexico, Canada, all of their allies in 2 months. What the hell?
Yep.
Seriously,
You know what, Rick?
Yeah, Sandy?
He's playing his apprentice game.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, can we fire him?
No,
it doesn't quite
we
work
should
that
all
way.
fire
We've got to impeach him, I guess, in order to stop this. But right now, too many people are afraid of him.
Trump fired.
Yeah, here before we hang on a sec. I found the video of what happened over on the Detroit-Windsor border. Here we go tonight. Let's just take a look at this.
Oh, Canada.
Check it out, eh?
Wow.
It just warms your heart, eh?
Yeah. Well, thank you to all our friends in Detroit.
There was another one. There's I hate to say the word black, but there was a black gentleman sitting in front of the White House underneath the canopy playing on a loudspeaker, "Oh, Canada."
Oh.
And I thought, that's awesome.
That's one way to protest.
Yes, that certainly is. And he was an older gentleman, and he had the loudspeaker blasting right in front of the White House.
Wow.
And I thought,
I love it. It's peaceful, but at the same time, a little bit of disruption, but not too much, just enough, just to give you a point. That's perfect.
To poke him a little bit. He's been poking the beaver, but this beaver's got teeth, and he's poked the wrong beaver.
Right on, Isabel.
You got that right.
Got it, girl.
That's my new shirt. You poke the beaver with teeth.
Oh my God. I'm not saying anything. My God. Oh my God.
Rick just came into the realm.
Oh, Isabel. Oh my God.
Of the social media.
You see what happens? This is what happens when you're over 72 going into 73. You don't care anymore.
It just, oh.
Geez, I hope I think like Isabel when I'm 72.
Oh, man, alive. Oh, God.
Thanks for the heads up, guys.
You just...
If nothing else through all this...
Could we go back to politics?
It's nothing at all through all of this, guys. I'm keeping my humor. Because if I don't keep my humor, I'm going to go crazy.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure, guys. We need to have a laugh. And I believe that nowadays we need to be more open-minded and stop to be biases or use the pseudo knowledge that we kind of aggregate to nowadays and be more merciful on ourselves. Because, I mean, look, guys, it's not going well.
Yeah.
And we do all bad stuff, or I mean, we do all have, say, our flaws as human being. But my dad used to tell me, we're human, and human does mistake. So don't be mad at yourself if you do something bad. Just amend yourself, do the right thing, and do better next time.
Yes.
So there's video of the Windsor side of this Windsor, Detroit protest
It was
today.
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I wish I
have to
would
say
have
thank
been
you.
there.
This gives you hope.
Yeah.
And we need more of it.
It just shows, that what's going on with Trump is he needs to be careful because he doesn't have as much support as he claims he does. He's not as powerful as he thinks that he is. Because you have at least half the country against him. And then even within the Republican, the base there, not so much just the MAGA base, but within the Republican Party, there are some people who don't like what he's doing on these fronts. It's just right now he's at peak power. He's coming in fresh. He has this plan, and a lot of people are afraid of him. And he is taking this very authoritarian stance, and he's executing a get even strategy. Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
I'm not afraid of Trump. I'll stand up to him.
Yeah, well, he better be careful because if he isn't, we're going to unleash you on him, and then he'll be in
I don't need a lease.
trouble.
Well, if I might ask to the journalist in Rick right here, what we see right now when you got Trump inflating numbers and saying how much he has people around him that thinks like him and everybody in the country is behind him. Basically, it's when you got the Fox or you got the not the Elon Musk, but the Fox and Jones saying things like that. Basically, it's a form of media manipulation through priming and framing. So basically, they are framing certain aspect of the problem and also priming that in your mind.
You know what I've come to realize, Dragon, is we've never really gone through information warfare like this before. This is somewhat new. But here's the thing that I've noticed. The people who have been telling us that you can't believe anything one side is saying because that side, everything they tell you is a lie. It's those people telling you that the other side is lying and not to listen to them. Those are the people who are lying to you even more. And so when I hear Tucker Carlson say, everything so-and-so says is a lie, everything they say, don't listen to them. And then he turns around and lies. Because what they want to do is they want to isolate you so that you're not getting all the information, only information from them. They're saying you can't trust that guy, don't listen to them anymore. I say no. Go ahead and listen to Alex Jones if you want. Go ahead and listen to these other guys, but make sure you're listening to a broad spectrum of information. And then don't just take that information at face value. Really research it, really dig down, and make sure that you are getting credible, factual information. Look at it all, and then do your own real research and go to credible sources. And
Rick,
I don't mean
say
Alex
something?
Jones' source, and even mainstream media. Check that too. But you can't, if somebody's telling you don't listen to somebody, it's because they're afraid of what that person is going to tell you.
It's
Can I
like
say something, Rick?
Sorry, Sandy, what?
Can I say something?
You go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, I wrote something the other night, and it's pretty interesting. The dark side meets the light side meets the dark.
Yes. Yin and yang.
Yep.
Balance.
Well, actually, that's what she did send me that quote on Facebook last night, and I did actually gave her a GIF or a GIF I don't know how you call that, but the GIF of a yin yang. So she was like right point on, my friend. So
Sandy, that's
all
why
are
we
alike.
love you so much, because you always bring wisdom. And it comes from the most unexpected places sometimes, and that's why I love having you here, because you always bring the sunshine. You're the one who brings the light to the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And joy.
It's taken me a long time.
Well, no, every time you call, every time I speak with you, your voice is just full of sunshine. Thank you.
Bless you, Sir Rick.
I'm going to go
And
around the
what do I
horn.
bring? A warped fence. A warped fence of humor.
Sandy, I'll tell you what. You start with our final thoughts tonight. Then we're going to go to Isabel, and then we're going to have Dragon close us off tonight.
It's always sunny on the dark side.
When you bring the truth, that's true. Isabel, over to you.
Just keep strong, because we see more and more the sides are pulling together. North and South are pulling together. They're standing for us. So keep the faith.
Yeah. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. And
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you, Isabel.
You're welcome, Sandy.
and Dragon, take us home.
Well, real quick, two things. First, a last comment on what you said about the way that the media is framing us. And basically what you did describe is creating cognitive bias and putting everyone into a ecosystem or a echo chamber. So be careful with that, guys, because we're basically entering into those holes really easily. And last comment will be, guys, don't give up. You always are right. Canadians are the best. You know, Canada go, Canada go.
Thank you, Donald.
It was a perfect call, man.
Thank you, Donald.
Mitch, you've done it.
And thank you, Isabel. And thank you, Sandy, for bringing the sunshine. And, you know, it's almost spring, and the snow in many places is beginning to melt. All those snowflakes out there.
Okay, I'll sing a little jingle.
Okay.
You are the sunshine of my life.
Okay, there you go. And you, like everybody else here, we're all just a bunch of snowflakes. Thank you, Sandy. Love you guys. See everybody back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Where?
On the flip side.
On the flip side.
Drifting down without a sound, a gentle touch upon the ground. No two the same, yet side by side, like you and me in this great tide. Like a fingerprint from God, frozen tears from up above. Each one special, each one rare, a fleeting wonder, light as air. Here for a moment, then melting away. Gone in the sunlight, lost in the day. Taken for granted, so easy to miss. Like life itself, so fragile as this. A million fall, yet each stands true. A perfect shape, a different hue. Just like us, no two alike. A spark of life, a soul in flight. Like a fingerprint from God, frozen tears from up above. Each one special, each one rare, a fleeting wonder, light as air. Here for a moment, then melting away. Gone myself. So fragile is this, a million falling, yet each stands true. A perfect shape, a different hue. Just like us, no two alike. Like life itself, so fragile is this. Like you, like me, we shine, we fade, yet every soul is beautifully made. A moment to love, a moment to stay, before we drift, before we stray. Cherish the snowflakes, here only for a moment, then melt away.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.